Coming up on BCN Today, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has some stern words for Canadians ignoring our nation's social distancing and self-isolation rules. A new poll reveals that 20% of Canadians believe the COVID-19 pandemic is being blown out of proportion. And local philanthropist Cor Van Ray steps up to the plate with a big donation to the Lethbridge Interfaith Food Bank.
Your Canada. Your Southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Roche.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Paul Arthur, sitting in for Jeanette. The opposition parties are going to support an $82 billion emergency bill being introduced in Parliament today. There will be 32 MPs in the House. The package includes funds to fight the COVID-19 pandemic and help businesses and workers. After the Conservatives objected to signing what they feared would be a blank check, the Liberals backed off a provision to give Cabinet months-long control over taxes and spending. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says seeing Canadians out in crowds on the weekend when they're supposed to be keeping apart to stop the spread of COVID-19 is alarming. He says enough is enough, and if things don't improve fast, governments will step in with harsher controls.
Social distancing, physical distancing, is the single best way to keep the people around you safe. What does that mean? It means keeping 2 meters between yourself and someone else. It means avoiding groups. It means staying home as much as possible. If you choose to ignore that advice, if you choose to get together with people or go to crowded places, you're not just putting yourself at risk, you're putting others at risk too. Your elderly relative who's in a senior's home, or your friend with a pre-existing condition, our nurses and doctors on the front lines, our workers stocking shelves at a grocery store. They need you to make the right choices. They need you to do your part. We've all seen the pictures online of people who seem to think they're invincible. Well, you're not. Enough is enough. Go home and stay home. This is what we all need to be doing. And we're going to make sure this happens, whether by educating people more on the risks or by enforcing the rules if that's needed. Nothing that could help is off the table. We are going to be speaking with the premiers this evening and talking about ways we can coordinate. We recognize that many communities, many provinces have declared states of emergency. They have taken measures to close certain public places. There is more that can be done. There is more that needs to be done around messaging, and that's what we're going to be talking about. But every step of the way, if we see that measures aren't being taken up properly, that aren't being followed, we will look at different measures that could be necessary to enforce these rules. We'd rather not, and we know that millions of Canadians are doing their part, but those who are not doing their part are putting at risk everyone else, including the eventual recovery of our economy and the well-being of millions of Canadians.
Trudeau also says Canada will be spending $192 million on developing and producing vaccines for the coronavirus. Alberta's Chief Medical Officer of Health has updated the case of Western Canadian doctors who attended a recent curling bonspiel in Edmonton with someone who later tested positive for COVID-19.
We have confirmed 42 new cases of COVID-19. This means that 301 cases have now been identified in our province. We suspect up to 24 of these cases may be community transmission. 18 individuals have been hospitalized and 7 are receiving care in the ICU. There have been no additional deaths. 3 Albertans have recovered from COVID-19 so far that have been reported to us. I would like to take this opportunity now to update you on the investigation into the Edmonton bonspiel with Western Canadian physicians and other healthcare workers that occurred March 11th to 14th. All attendees have been contacted and are self-isolating. We have determined that 11 of the 47 Alberta healthcare workers who attended the event have now tested positive for COVID-19. Many of these are physicians. Some of these individuals worked early last week before notification came through of the case associated with the event, and all contacts are being notified as per usual local public health follow-up. Some of these contacts have been patients. I was able to speak with one of the organizers last night who described the measures that were taken to follow guidelines that were in place at the time. Despite these measures, transmission took place, and the key messages that we can take away from this event are: number one, even mild symptoms, minor sore throat or runny nose, can result in spread of infection. Number two, commonly touched surfaces, like serving spoons at a buffet, can be a mechanism for spread.
As of today, the province opened up licensed child care centres for up to 30 people, including staff. Children's Services is working with child care providers to open up 15,000 child care spaces, including here in Lethbridge.
Common sense would indicate that if we've closed the centre down, there's a whole bunch of work that would need to go to restaff up again, along with determining what licensing registration would be, what's the funding model, who's paying, all those kind of things probably need to be ironed out. That's probably why we haven't heard from the government in depth yet on the program. We did hear that something might be coming down the pipe, but at this point we don't have enough information to make any real commitment as to what it looks like. But there's definitely a lot of steps involved in reopening a center that you've closed. In terms of getting staff back, determining who's available. Because a lot of those families with our staff have kids too. So how's their childcare situation going to be handled? All those kind of things need to be taken into account.
A Leger poll is suggesting 20% of people surveyed think the COVID-19 pandemic is being blown out of proportion. The poll was taken over the weekend. It found that 18 to 34-year-olds are most likely to think the crisis is overblown. 41% are somewhat afraid of personally contracting the virus, and 16% said they were very afraid, while 44% are somewhat afraid someone in their immediate family will contract it. Another 26% said they were very afraid of that. The City of Lethbridge provided another update on the COVID-19 situation in our city and outlined ways in which they are trying to keep us safe. Calgary has recently implemented a fine for gatherings of over 50 people. We asked the city officials if they would consider putting similar plans in motion for the future.
We haven't got to that point yet. We're considering all options. We certainly will rely on the advice of our Director of Emergency Management Services and those from Alberta Health Services as well. So we want people to voluntarily follow that advice right now. There shouldn't be gatherings of more than 50 people. And we're actually discouraging gatherings of even just a few people. It should just be you and your family. If you're out in the community, in the park or something like that, please don't interact with others in any numbers whatsoever.
We are also committed to ensure all residents have access to utilities at this time. We will not be disconnecting any utility customers due to overdue accounts.
The City of Lethbridge also announced yesterday that it is changing the way transit is being offered to prevent contact between drivers and riders. Anyone who needs to use transit is now asked to load at the back of the bus, and riders will not be required to pay a fare. Anyone with special mobility or accessibility needs will be allowed to access the bus from the front entrance in order to use the ramp. The city will continue to clean buses daily, wiping down all touched surfaces and continuing with regular disinfectant fogging treatments. Local philanthropist Cor Van Ray has donated $100,000 to the Lethbridge Interfaith Food Bank. Although he is in self-isolation himself, the local farmer expressed that he could not stand by with so many people in need. The organization's executive director, Danielle McIntyre, shared exactly where the money will be going.
So this money is going to go directly to food, and our ability to partner with other agencies to get that emergency food assistance out to community members who are having a difficult time putting enough food on the table right now. Fortunately for us, this is a very sizable donation that should last us a bit of time. You know what, we haven't seen the mad rush as of yet. Right now we are seeing more challenges in getting food out to families who are not able to make it down physically to the food bank. So we've been partnering with some other agencies, the Lethbridge Food Bank, My City Care, Salvation Army, several groups, to be able to arrange to be able to make sure that those people who are in self-isolation are still able to get the supplies that they need.
Cor Van Ray has previously given millions of dollars to the university, college, hospital foundation, YMCA, and many other local projects. Organizers of the Lethbridge International Air Show have decided to cancel this year's event. It was scheduled for the Heritage Day long weekend in early August after a 2-year hiatus, but Association President Gail Pontarolo says there was simply too much uncertainty around the COVID-19 pandemic. The City of Lethbridge is offering a bit of leeway for those facing financial hardships due to the COVID-19, enabling residents to defer utility payments for 3 months if necessary. City Manager Jody Melly says the province, along with the Alberta Utilities Commission, are working with the city to develop a system to help customers pay back these deferred utilities within a reasonable time period. Yesterday was moving day for many students who are living in residence at the University of Lethbridge. The COVID-19 pandemic is forcing the U of L to shut down all of its residence buildings.
So what we're doing is we have asked all of our students who are able to be somewhere else, we're requiring them to move out of residences such that we can redistribute those that are remaining in residence, those who are international students, those who do not have safe alternative housing options, within our spaces that allow us to more effectively social distance. So practice the physical distancing, as I'm sure you can imagine. Residence spaces are, by their very nature, difficult spaces in which to practice effective social distancing. And so this is going to allow us to use those spaces, our townhouses, our places where we can position students who must remain on campus or need to remain on campus in spaces where they don't have to share washrooms, where they don't have to share kitchen facilities.
The university says students who have no place to move to will not be forced out. The university will also refund rent on a prorated basis for the remainder of the academic year. The Holy Spirit Catholic Division in Lethbridge has a warning about false advertising that was posted about the school and its closure.
We knew from the get-go that this was a scam, simply because we have been in close communication with Department of Education and Alberta Health Services on a regular basis, daily, in some cases more than once a day. So we knew that the information that was there was not accurate at all. And in times like this, it's certainly very trying, and we try to make sure that we convey the correct information from reliable sources.
Online classes started yesterday for all Holy Spirit High School students, and all other grades will start tomorrow. Police in Lethbridge have charged a 28-year-old woman in connection with a robbery on Sunday. Police say a masked female entered Friday's liquor store on 13th Street North around 8:15 p.m. She took bottles of booze and then, as she attempted to leave the store, was confronted by the female clerk. The perpetrator punched her and fled on foot. Thanks to the help of the K-9 unit, the woman was arrested a short time later. Charisse Marie Ann Smith of Lethbridge is scheduled to appear in court on June 25th. Lethbridge police have charged a 25-year-old man in connection with a stolen vehicle. Last Friday, police responded to a report of a stolen Ford Explorer. Police discovered the vehicle at the Dairy Queen drive-thru along 12th Avenue South. When they tried to pin the vehicle, the driver attempted to flee, colliding with one of the police vehicles, and then subsequently smashed into the side of the Motel 6. Damage to the building and vehicle is estimated between $75,000 and $100,000. Anthony Douglas Johnston of Lethbridge and 26-year-old Brandon Chase Healy of Standoff face a wide range of charges. Lethbridge police are advising the public of scams surrounding COVID-19 and what you can do to protect yourself.
Like anything, fraudsters have capitalized on the COVID-19 global pandemic. And regular, everyday people are being targeted, and they're mostly being targeted through phishing, whether that's texting or emailing, and it's a combination of things such as spreading false information and also requesting money or donations for nonprofit organizations to help support the fight against COVID-19. What we're asking the public is simply access information from trusted sources. So anything to do with the COVID-19 global pandemic, we must obtain information solely from the City of Lethbridge, the Province of Alberta, or the Government of Canada. No other source, I would consider that to be accurate. One other exception would be news media.
The public is advised that LPS will never demand cash payments by wire transfer, gift cards, or any other means, and residents should never give out personal or financial information to unsolicited callers. Lethbridge police have charged a 19-year-old in connection with a series of break-and-enters in the downtown core. Police responded to reports of B&Es at the HSBC Bank on 4th Avenue South, the Melcor Centre, Hague Clinic, and Park Place Mall. 19-year-old Haley Ann Trenery of Lethbridge is charged with 3 counts of break-and-enter, committing mischief and attempted shopbreaking. Both Ontario and Quebec are ordering the closure of all non-essential businesses starting tonight. However, this won't apply to Dollarama stores. The Montreal-based retailer says all of its stores with street access will remain open in both provinces. Dollarama is also giving its workers a 10% raise, continuing through to Canada Day. And with so many people working from home now, Ontario is expected to cut electricity rates for the next 45 days. Hydro-Quebec says rates were already being frozen for a year beginning April 1st, but it is not applying administrative charges for unpaid bills, and it will suspend service interruptions. After 2 months under lockdown, most of China's Hubei province will be allowed to leave the province once again. Officials note that domestic cases of the COVID-19 virus continue to subside, and the province has seen almost no new infections for more than a week. However, the city of Wuhan, where the outbreak started, will remain locked down until April 8th. The January 23rd lockdown of Wuhan came as a new coronavirus began spreading to the rest of China and overseas during the Lunar New Year, when many Chinese travel. After weeks of calls from athletes and other officials, the decision has been made to postpone the Tokyo Olympics until next year. The International Olympic Committee says it hopes the decision will help the world heal from the COVID-19 pandemic. The Olympics have never before been postponed and have only ever previously been canceled in wartime. However, they will still be called the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. We do have a chance of snow coming our way, but there is some sunlight at the end of the tunnel and some warmer temperatures. I'll have the forecast coming up right after this short break. Taking a look at our forecast, mainly cloudy today with a 30% chance of flurries and a high of +1. Tonight, cloudy and a 60% chance of flurries, a low of -7. And some periods of snow on the way for tomorrow, a high of +1. Then for Thursday, back to sunshine and a high of +6. Another sunny day on Friday and 9 degrees. And the weekend is looking good, sunny and 11 on Saturday, with Sunday bringing a few clouds and 15. Monday, partly cloudy and dropping off to 9 degrees. Checking the almanac, the average high for this time of year is 8 degrees with an average low of -5. Highest temperature in the state recorded in 1999 at 21 degrees. A record low -26 in 1955. Sunrise was at 7:25 and sunset at 7:50. And let's take a look at what things are looking like across the country. A chance of showers in Victoria and 9 degrees today. Vancouver is also in for some showers and 10 degrees. And in Calgary, a chance of flurries, getting up to -3. It'll be a snowy day for Edmonton and a high of -2. Some rain mixed with snow for Regina, a high of +3. Cooler in Saskatoon, snow and -3. Showers and +5 for Winnipeg. And in Toronto, a mix of sun and cloud and a high of 7, and mainly cloudy skies in Ottawa at +4. In Montreal, cloudy and 6 degrees. In the Maritimes, periods of snow and 4 degrees in Fredericton. And for Halifax, some rain and snow on the way, getting up to +4. In Charlottetown, snow and -1. And in St. John's, a chance of flurries along with a high near 0. A U.S. Navy hospital ship has been setting sail from San Diego en route to Los Angeles to help the city free up hospital beds. The USS Mercy will take on patients from area hospitals who do not have coronavirus a day after it docks in Los Angeles.
We are about to embark Mercy to increase medical capacity, offer collaboration for medical assistance and disaster relief in Los Angeles. We will be ready on arrival to support FEMA, state, and local agencies' efforts to protect the health of the American people in the whole-of-government approach directed by the President of the United States. Mercy brings a team of medical professionals, medical equipment, and supplies, all of which will act in essence as a relief valve for local civilian hospitals in the Los Angeles area, so that local health professionals can better focus on COVID-19 cases. We are not deploying to treat COVID-19 patients and are taking proactive measures to ensure anyone coming aboard is properly screened for COVID-19 to mitigate the risk of a case on board.
The auto industry is converting some of its unused capacity to help respond to the COVID-19 global emergency. In a letter to employees, Fiat Chrysler CEO Mike Manley says the automaker is converting a plant in Asia to make face masks. He says they aim to produce over 1 million masks per month to donate to frontline healthcare workers. Luxury sports car maker Ferrari, meanwhile, is helping an engineering firm to make respirators. Golf in the middle of the coronavirus crisis certainly is different, but unlike other sports and recreational activities, this one is still open for business in many parts of the U.S.
We want to encourage everybody to come out and enjoy some recreational time. So what we've done is taken a few actions. We've lifted the cups about an inch or so above the surface of the putting green. So what that allows people to do is putt until they hit the cup, and then just pick up their golf ball to avoid hitting touching the flagstick. It's a different time right now, so everybody is happy with our moves, and they're just happy to be outside, to be honest with you. So I haven't had any complaints about it yet.
It's definitely a needed distraction, especially with nothing else on at home. I mean, I'm a father of 3 daughters, and my wife and my daughters and I love to watch sports. It's crazy that there is nothing on. So getting out now, being able to really get some fresh air and, chat is a very good thing.
Oh, lipped out. You're outdoors, and you're not near anybody else, and there's only groups of 4, and you're far apart. So we're not touching the pins. The equipment we have is our own equipment. It's not anybody else's equipment.
Fracking is a controversial practice, and not everyone is a fan, but there are some misconceptions as to what exactly happens. For example, does it cause earthquakes? Robert Murphy from the Fraser Institute has the details about the pros and cons of fracking. That interview is coming up shortly.